Hi there, it's Luna. Welcome to the new year and a little check-in that I wanted to do with you. I had planned to make this video since March of last year, but you know what kind of year it was, so I never really felt up to it. And I'm always so nervous to talk, I don't know. It's really not my thing. So, anyway, deliveries are super slow right now, and even the few things that I need for my shop will not get here. So instead of skipping today, I thought we could just recap 2020 and look at what's in store for 2021, YouTube wise. So, personally, and I think I speak for a lot of us when I say 2020 just threw me for a huge loop. I was seriously happy when my job announced that I was on paid leave during the pandemic. I still am, and it's great. I can't lie about that. It's awesome. I love it. But that's the only good thing, really, that happened. Ultimately, I couldn't really use that time last year for too many nice things because unfortunately we lost two family members, not from COVID, but from cancer. It was a seriously hard time for me personally, and it's really tough to see someone that you love just forget you and become so weak. You don't want to see that kind of, and you also wish to do something, but there's nothing you can do than to stay by their side, really. It seriously brought me down, which is why there wasn't any content for a few weeks during the later half of the year. I'm usually someone who has to be creative and work through things in that way. Like it's almost like an addiction. I cannot stop doing or making things because it helps me de stress. But after all this, after two funerals, I was just basically done. There was no motivation really left in me, and I didn't even go into my craft room. I think sometimes you just have to spend some time on the sofa, binging Netflix, if that's what it takes. And it's an important lesson that I learned in 2020, to be more lenient with myself, personally and in terms of my work and my craft. I don't have to push for a video every week if I can't even bear getting up from the sofa, you know? I don't have to make every project perfect to the T if it means that I stress myself out about it. Sometimes I think just making something is good, and other times making nothing is also good. So, yeah, it's been a crazy year, and I'm still not quite okay, but I'm still here. And also, this is what you're seeing on screen right now if you're watching the video and not just listening. Um, no, I haven't spontaneously turned into a sewing channel. I needed to do this to work through some things. One of the people who passed away last year was my grandma, and we decided after she passed away that my grandpa needed to be more supervised. He has a heart condition, and we didn't really want him to live alone, so he moved closer to us in a flat where he has nursing staff and doctors in the house, so he can like ring a bell and they come to his flat. So we had to clear out the apartment that they shared, grandma and grandpa, which is when I found the embroidery kit that you see me doing right here. It was in my grandma's sewing room. She loved to do this embroidery stuff, and she made these huge pictures, these embroidery pictures, and put flowers everywhere on every linen and every towel and every pillow, like flowers and names and letters and what have you. And in the end, she had Parkinson's, so she couldn't do it anymore. And due to the cancer being in her brain, she also forgot where she put stuff. And so this kid just sat, like, forgotten in her sewing room until we cleared out the apartment and I found it. So when I was little, I used to stay with her after school while my mom worked. And after I was done with my homework, she would teach me embroidery because I thought it was so pretty and I really wanted to learn it. And when I found this kit, I knew I would just have to complete what she left behind. So what you're seeing here is my way of working through everything that happened. I work through things by being creative. So due to the pandemic, the hospital wouldn't take her in until it was really, really urgent. So we just took care of her at home for the last weeks and days. It was tough. You're basically forced to stay strong and put on a smile, explaining things over and over that she forgot, sometimes not explaining so that she wouldn't get confused. So you're really putting on a strong show, during the day, but during the night you're just left alone with all your fear and worry and anxiety. And then later handling like the funeral arrangements and having to decide who gets to come and who has to stay behind because of pandemic regulations. That's not something I wish on anybody to decide. So I just used this kit because it literally forced me to sit quietly and just be alone with my thoughts for a while. And even if you're not a super creative person, or if you're having doubt in your ability, maybe just sitting down and doing something will help you a little. And when I was done with the kit, I gave it to my grandpa for Christmas so he could have a nice gift this year, even though, the year had brought him so much pain. So it sure was a crazy year, and I can honestly say I met my personal boundaries, which were both further away than I thought, but also not far out enough. Oftentimes I felt like I needed to do more, maybe in terms of family, of my YouTube stuff, of work, you know. But there's a point where you just can't go on. And you have to just sit there and, I don't know, embroider something if that's what it takes to keep yourself together. So, yeah, I thought if I sit there and spend my time doing that, I might as well film it for some kind of purpose in the future. So, that's what you're seeing now. It's not something I will do again, I think. But it's a nice change of content, and it's better than staring at an empty screen. So let's steer away from the super heavy topics and get on to talking YouTube. So, just like a lot of you, probably, I thought that 2020 would be different. I started the year super motivated, and I told you as much as I could at any given time, but of course, it ended up just being teasers. And I realized now that I never really followed up with the things that I teased on. So, yeah, let's unravel the entire ordeal that was 2020 in terms of my creative work and YouTube. So, I posted in the community tab that I'd been writing important emails concerning my work here on YouTube. And what I planned was that I would write to local theme parks or places that hold Halloween festivals and offer to work for them. Not for money, really, just for because I want to work kind of professionally in a creative sense. I don't know how to explain it. I just have this dream that maybe someday I can make something out of my creativity. So, yeah, I showed them what I do and I had this portfolio put together and I offered to give them some masks. Not the Dead by Daylight mask, because I really don't want to be sued to the moon and back. But I said that I could maybe do some of their own designs, or if they have no problem with that, that I would design something fitting their concept. I just really left all possibilities open. And I was surprised, really. Things went a lot better than expected. I actually made it all the way to head of costuming department at a larger theme park. I had visited there before and I loved their Halloween shows, so I was crazy excited. Like, there were levels of screaming going on in this house that you cannot believe. It was awesome, I was happy, and then that virus thing came along and all the parks closed. So, yeah, nothing came of it other than some very nice emails. So that's great. I'm telling myself that I will try again this year, but honestly, I don't know if I have it in me right now. Maybe, maybe not. I'm definitely not stressing myself out over it. While I was still talking to the parks, a local company contacted me and wanted me to bring my masks in for an interview. And they said they had a job for me and wanted to have like proof of my work. So since I wasn't happy in my current day job, I went there with some of the most eye-catching masks, packed everything up nice and tight and took a train. So the interview went great. People were very nice, but I had this kind of gut feeling that something wasn't right. They talked a lot, but there wasn't a lot of information. So in German, we have a saying that goes like having to pull stuff from somebody's nose when you have to talk to them. And that's what it felt like talking to them. I had to ask about every little thing, and they just gave me short answers, without telling me the whole picture. So first they said they wanted me to work in their store, on site, which would be all right. It's not too far away. And they do like workshop type things, so crafting in groups. I know it is the very best idea to do something in groups for 2020, but none of us knew back then. It was very early in the year. So I was like, yeah, that sounds great. I can just teach the people how to make masks and cosplay stuff or something else. And then they're like, well, you have to use our products. So I'm like, that's okay. I can adapt to professional products. And I have already worked with stuff like Warbler at conventions. And they were like, well, it won't be your content. And I'm like, I'm not intending on filming this. It would be a job. It's not the thing you have to know. It's not an MLM type deal. I would have been an employee of the company with a wage just like any other job. So I was like, yeah, of course I don't film it. And then they're like, yeah, that's not what we mean. Like, you wouldn't be able to make what you're making now. You would have to make what we tell you to make. And sometime later, I will make a video on why this sentence majorly triggers me. So then I'm like, well, what am I supposed to do? Just tell me straightforward. And it turns out it's supposed to be a sales type deal. So I would showcase some materials, teach people how to use them, and then sell them. And that might sound good for some people, but for me, it just wasn't it. And the pay that they promised me wouldn't even have been better than my current job. So, all in all, it was just a lose lose type of deal for me. So I said no thank you and walked out of there. I think that's a good decision. Like, looking back, I wouldn't have been happy there. So then, it seemed like word had gotten around because two more people reached out to me a few weeks later. A girl my age wrote me a DM that she had a job for me in social media, and she sent me like a very official looking job description. The type you see when you would sign up to those job hunting sites online. It was well made, had all the info there. I mean, kind of all the info on the job, like you will be doing this, we need you to have this kind of school education and so on. But it didn't say a company name, so that was kind of fishy. And I showed the ad and the conversation with the girl to my friends because I'm old and I just expect to be catfished on the internet. But we all agreed that it looked very legit, so I continued talking to her. And after a few days of back and forth, she finally told me what was going on. And honestly, I was so angry for her wasting my time like that. It was an MLM type deal for selling food supplements. And the social media part of it that she advertised would be me setting up the company's Instagram, Twitter, and YouTube channel to just sell these food supplements. It was some kind of powder, I don't know, and some pills. It was just, I was out there so fast. But my journey through MLM Town wasn't over. I got the contact of a lady who claimed she really wanted to meet me and offer me a job. She had heard that I was working on YouTube stuff and said that she was looking for people who wanted to get something started aside from their day job, kind of like I do YouTube. And if that already sounds like a red flag to you, you're smarter than I was. But I'm with you. It does sound like a red flag now with things I learned. But I knew that she was the wife of a doctor, so I thought, oh, she's probably legit. They have money. She won't be into anything sketchy. As I said, I wasn't as smart back then. So, anyway, I agreed on a phone interview because at that time we were already within pandemic stuff. And I kid you not, she was talking for an hour straight about the company and how great it was and how long she had been in there and how much it helped her. She never told me a name and she never told me what I'm supposed to do in the company. Eventually, I did get a word in, and I was like, what am I supposed to do? What are you proposing? Is this some type of company sponsorship? Is it about some type of affiliate links or codes that I could give out? And then it turned out that she wanted nothing more than to recruit me for her MLM. And I won't name names, but the products didn't even have anything to do with my channel. And I didn't know the company name, but when I looked it up on YouTube, it was really hard to find serious info on it and not just the salespeople gushing about how great the company was. And after some weeks, after I had told her no, I hung up the phone on her pretty quickly and also blocked her. But I kept that company name in my mind and researched a little on it. And it turns out that they have a kind of team in their company that goes through social media and just deletes and claims all types of videos or all types of content that talks negatively about the company. So that sounds promising. I'm glad I didn't get into that. And it's really how I said on Twitter that sometimes trying to get some cooperation outside of YouTube is pretty much playing MLM Minesweeper. It's insane. I never thought there is so much stuff out there. And I'm surprised about the people setting up these fake job descriptions and getting you to talk to them. And I don't know. Why would you even do that? Just say straight up what it is. If you have a Hanbot that wants to do it, then they will do it. But why go through all this trouble? After this ordeal was over, I thought, well, maybe trying to get something done from YouTube isn't the worst of ideas. So I wrote to some channels that I watch that are within my, let's say, price range, subscriber range. And I was like, hey, maybe we could work together on some projects. I saw you were doing this and that, and it really fits my content. It would be nice to feature each other, kind of. But there is nothing but radio silence. So, yeah, things are going great. Let's see what else. Oh, I showed you pictures on Instagram of an ad that I was filming. So let's talk about this absolute disaster. I heard on social media that there was some kind of award thing hosted for small YouTube creators. So everybody under 10k subs. And it sounded like I could fit in there pretty well. And they made a huge deal about signing up. Like you had to fill in about 12 pages of application info. I was on there all day. They wanted pictures of a lot of stuff and of me. And I wrote them and I was like, why do you want a picture of me? I'm not even in the channel. I could literally send any kind of picture. And they're like, no, it has to be your picture. And if it's not, and like we decide to have you on the live stream, and then we will disqualify your channel or whatever. So anyway, I did send a picture. I mean, what are they going to do with it? Oh, and they also requested a video especially made for them. So just for the show that they would put into the live stream and then show to a lot of people. So I thought that's a great opportunity, having a live stream where one of my videos is shown, and I worked super hard on making a great ad for the channel. So at the very least, they promised a quote unquote professional feedback for everybody making it into the recall stage. Of course, there was lots of prizes for the respective winners in every category. So, editing software, I think money, if I recall correctly, like cash money, like a little award statue, ad space, shout outs, whatever. It was pretty nice. So the thing was hosted online eventually because of COVID. And yeah, I don't even know what to tell you. All I can say is that I, once again, feel like I wasted a lot of time. So it seemed like the people all knew each other. I really had the impression that it's the same group of people getting together for this every year and just giving kind of prizes to each other. They shouted out a few creators, and I especially remember one of them where the hosts of the show said, oh, you've been here for 4 years in a row and you never won anything, and then they laughed. And I was like, wow, great chances for me. They get to the videos and channels that they picked, and of course I wasn't in it. I mean, I didn't expect to be in it. I just, thought at the very least I would get some nice feedback and could work on the channel. But honestly, I was a bit surprised to see that it was all this kind of overproduced, squeaky clean content. I don't mean necessarily ad friendly, but I mean, it was ad friendly, of course it was. But I mean this like perfect lighting, perfect sound, animations, a fully decorated set, everything, on point. And it was that kind of stuff that makes you think it wasn't about small channels in the first place, like they claimed. So, I didn't get in, but your girl did score herself a recall and that promised feedback. By the way, I am petty like that. And I checked on the channels who made it into the show, because the limit was like 10k subs. So I was like, oh, the way they are looking, they have to be at like, I don't know, 9k, 8k subs, making a little bit of money on the side, having ads and whatnot. But I figured out that I am within the, let's say, upper middle class in terms of subscribers, so maybe that was why I got the recall. So please do consider yourself awesome for having subscribed. We're doing just fine. So yeah, that long-awaited professional channel feedback just came in my inbox. And what can I say? It was just like with the live stream. I was underwhelmed at best. They brought up very obvious things that I also know about. That the lighting isn't good in some clips, that the camera angle could be better, that I would be better off putting the camera on the other side of the table. That stuff is something I know but can't change, because I'm literally filming next to my washing machine. There's just that one place for the camera to be at if you want to see anything at all. To participate, I had classified my videos as tutorials because they had many categories and very detailed descriptions for each of them. So I learned that my videos didn't fit in the art category. So I was like, well, fine, tutorials, I explain stuff, that's good. They claimed I was not, in fact, making tutorials. So according to their specifications, it's not art, but according to their team, it's not tutorials. So I don't even know what you're watching right now. They said that because I'm not explaining anything in a voiceover, it cannot be classified as a tutorial. And they also said, and I quote, "It is impossible to figure out what is going on, what kind of materials you are using, and what you're even working on." And I'm sorry to say that, but like 80% of my material is cardboard. I think it is impossible to figure out what it is. They also said that my channel disturbed them, that's a direct quote, because of the mix of cute crafting videos and I quote again, those creepy horror masks that were grotesque and put them off so much. And I also was advised to change my channel banner because, and I quote, creative content can mean anything. I didn't answer the email, and I wasn't supposed to be, I think, but let's just recap those last 2 points. Let's say it slowly so that everybody understands. They said I have a mix of stuff on my channel. Cute things, costume things, paintings, creepy masks. And on top of the channel, it says creative content, which they claim can stand for a lot. So, if we put it in one sentence, there is a lot of stuff on my channel, and on top of the channel, there is a banner that says, hey, there is a lot of stuff here. But that is wrong, apparently. I don't know. I know that it's not a very cool design, it's not eye catching, but when I say that there's a lot of stuff, and then there is a lot of stuff, I think it matches up. So, yeah, that was another nope for 2020. Since they didn't even talk about the ad I made and I spent a super long time filming, I will just use the footage within the next few weeks and make a new channel trailer for us. And if you couldn't tell already, I am pretty salty about that whole thing. So at this point, January 2021, I decided to just leave it. Not the YouTube stuff, of course. I am still doing videos. As I told you, I cannot stop crafting and I cannot stop being creative, so that will continue, but I think I'm just over that excitement of wanting to push the channel and wanting to make something happen at all costs. And honestly, I'm just tired. I'm tired after everything that happened in 2020, and I don't have it in me to just reach out all the time and be professional all the time. Like, I put off this video for months just because I didn't want to talk. I will just continue doing my craft now. Whatever happens, happens. In the end, it's about my art and you guys who want to watch it. And for now, I'll just return to my work table and save me some stress. So let's talk 2021. One thing that you might have already noticed is that I'm using more tools now. This will continue for the foreseeable future because I cannot quite work like I want to anymore. It's not a sob story, I promise. It's just informing. But after an accident in 2011, my right hand was paralyzed for about half a year. Obviously, as you're seeing in the videos, it's working again after about a year of therapy, but there is chronic pain that will probably never leave. And when the pain is really bad, I have trouble working with small things, like you see with the miniatures. And I don't have a lot of strength in my hands, so repetitive things like sanding get really hard for me. And I think I have mentioned it in the Black Panther video. Even the sculpting is hard for me because it's just so fine tuned work with your fingers or with tools that I cannot do it for a long time. So when I have a project like this that requires a lot of sculpting, usually I work for about an hour, maybe an hour and a half. Then I stop, take a break, do something else, relax my hand a bit, and then I get back onto it for another hour, and then I stop again. So that takes a crazy amount of time, more than I like to, but I can't help it right now. So I'll have to use tools if I cannot substitute with my left hand. But it will always be things that can be done without tools. The premise of the channel won't change. We are still doing easy crafts that can be done without professional tools. Whenever I use tools, I will tell you, hey, this is how you can also accomplish the same end result without it. It's just that I don't want to gamble movement again because I quite like my work on YouTube and I want to keep it up for however long I can. I will sometimes wear a splint when I'm using the Dremel or sanding. I have a new bigger sanding tool now. The splint helps minimize the vibrations from the tools so that it doesn't hurt too much. And you will sometimes see me wear a glove just on the right hand because it really hurts when I get cold fingers and my basement is not a very warm place. I got some new gloves that are supposed to help with circulation and minimize pain. I don't know if that's legit, but if they have a benefit, that's nice. If they don't have a benefit, then they are pink and that's great. So medical stuff is medical, but we will continue crafting. As for 2021 projects, I obviously will not give any spoilers. I have a lot of things planned, a lot of the bigger projects that sat in my ideas folder and that I couldn't realize while I was still working full time. I definitely want to get those done, as well as some projects that I always dreamt of doing but couldn't because I didn't have the skill for it. So, next week we will start with a Christmas present that I made. The week after, you will get to see one of those big projects that I wanted to do for a long time. It's already in my basement, and honestly, I just cannot stop staring at it. I hope you like it because I sure do. Honestly, it's projects like these that give me some kind of healing, even if that sounds super cheesy. I can really feel just my motivation and creativity return bit by bit whenever I look at that project. And at the end of the month, we will probably do a painting video while I gear up for presenting another mask in February. It's a mask that a few of you have been requesting, so look forward to that. I am already planning the Halloween projects. It is a temporary lineup of 3 or 4 masks right now. But if you have any wishes or ideas for Halloween or for any other type of mask or content that you want to see, just leave a comment down below. I will always try to work in your ideas, and also the Halloween lineup can still change up until summer. I think I did already announce in my Instagram stories that I will be making the twins weapon from Dead by Daylight. It is already on my table, and I think if everything goes well, and if I finally get my delivery of glue from Amazon, it will be there in early February. You want to know one thing that I just cannot get out of my mind? It's like an itch that you can't shake. Ever since I saw the teaser pictures, I just really want to build a cosplay with this disgusting little twin thing growing from the girl's body. It's just so gross. I love it. I don't think that is anything I can do in a pandemic when everything is locked down. It needs some serious shopping. So it will have to live in my head for now, but I really want to do it. Maybe I can find a way. So that's all I got planned right now, and since I'm already on page 5 of my notes, we might just meet again for another talking video in a few weeks. I will head back to work now. This has been your favorite YouTuber with the bad audio and the grotesque, unprofessional channel, wishing you all the best for 2021 after successfully mastering all 12 levels of 2020. See you next week, guys. Stay healthy and don't forget to like and subscribe if you haven't already. Bye.